Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast here in Australia. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic and festive week wherever you are in this amazing planet of ours. Isn't it interesting that another year's flown by and we've still been in the midst of this pandemic that never seems to be going away? It's like the gift that keeps on giving. Every now and then when we think we've got it under control, up pops another variant. But, you know, look, for whatever reason, it's here to stay for the moment anyway, and we've just got to make the best of it. And let's try and get into the real festive spirit, the time of the year where I think that there's so much hope. There's so much to look forward to. Here in Australia, we don't celebrate Christmas in quite the way you guys do in the Northern Hemisphere with all your beautiful Christmas decorations and your lights. And yes, we decorate our homes and things like that, but it's always a magical time of the year to me to watch what's going on overseas. And I stick a few Christmas movies on as well as the Christmas carols on the turntable. And it really puts me in a place of hope and joy for the next year that's coming up. And I think that's what we need to do this year more than ever, is to try and put ourselves in a place of hope. You know, try and find something wonderful about the world. You know, let's be thankful we're all still here. You know, we've survived another year. We've survived a year of, you know, uncertainty and not knowing what was coming next, and we're still here, and that's a positive. That's a good thing. And as we get ready to, you know, welcome family and friends around the festive table or to catch up with them and people we haven't seen in a long time. And I know there's lots of families that have been isolated and away from each other because of COVID restrictions and might just get the chance this time for a first time in a couple of years to be able to sort of catch up and to really enjoy what the festive season is about, which is about people. It's not necessarily about spending a lot of money down at the store to buy somebody a gift. It's about the gift of giving of yourself, of the things that are important, you know, your time, your love, your, you know, funny stories and being really interested in someone else. So that takes me to the Simply Tarot card of the week this week, which is the Fool. Now, the Fool is a very ambiguous sort of card. People look at this in the tarot deck and think, I don't want to be a fool. I'm not a fool. It's got nothing to do with you being a fool. The Fool is about good friends, happiness, and maybe needing to take a giant leap forward in your life. If you look carefully, he's standing on the edge of the cliff. He's got his lunch, he's got his dog, he's got all his worldly possessions with him. And what he's doing is standing at the edge of the cliff saying, will I take that leap of faith? Will I take that giant leap forward into the unknown, into not knowing what might lay ahead, because it's the right thing to do. I'm ready. You know, I'm as prepared as I can possibly be to take this next step in my life. And I think it's a very apt card for most of us around the world at the moment, as we are taking a leap of faith into what lies ahead. Yes, we might have some plans about what we think we might be going to do in the next 12 months or even the next couple of weeks, but there's still a number of uncertain situations that we need to come across and we will need to deal with, and we will need to have that leap of faith and just leap into the unknown. So I think it's a really positive, uplifting card at the moment to say that we are all in this together. We are all ready to take that leap of faith forward into the future. Whatever the future may bring, we will do this together. And I think that that's really, really important. Now, every week we feature the astrology section on the show, and since COVID, the astrology section has sort of really become quite important. And, you know, my inbox is full every week and people sort of thank me for that and sort of say, I really get a lot of benefit out of it. You're not talking in ways that I don't understand. You're talking about in simple, easy to understand language that I can associate with, I can understand, I can say, yes, that's me, or maybe, no, I haven't been feeling that way, but I'll be on the lookout for that. So it's really heartening to me as an astrologer to know that people are understanding the information and the knowledge that I'm sharing with you, because astrology sometimes can get a bad rap. It's, you know, people used to pick up a newspaper or a magazine and read their daily star sign and say, oh, that didn't really relate to me. And look, my answer to that is we can't divide the population into 12 parts. You know, just because you might be born under the sign of Sagittarius and we're in the Sagittarian time of the year like me, you're not all going to be exactly the same as me. We all have other 9 parts of a chart that make us up. where our planets are placed, and then we have many other things, aspects and luminaries and Arabian parts and other things that make the complete picture. So it's not like just we can just sort of take a snapshot and say the world divides into 12 this way. But what it does do is, when you get into astrology much further, like I did many, many moons ago, you understand the complexities, and it helps you understand your fellow human being. It also helps you understand that we are all born with strengths and weaknesses, and we can't necessarily change, but we can modify our behaviour. And I think that's the big lesson, is if you understand the people that are closest to you and make allowances for the things that may not be as perfect as you'd like them to be, but you love them anyway, then it doesn't become such a major issue to you, because you're understanding, you're making allowances for that. And by the same token, hopefully they'll make allowances with you. So astrology is a research science. It's not something that somebody just dreamed up. It is an actual science. And there's a lot of study that goes into really learning astrology. And I've been in it over 40 years now. And I can say to you, I still don't know it all. There's still many, many areas, I'm sure, of astrology that if I really put my mind to it and studied them, I'd find some other areas that I'm not as specialised in as I could be. But that's, it's one of those things. I always said it equates to like doing a university degree. There's so much to learn. There's so many different parts to it. And there's so many things that you could get bogged down in. You have to pick the areas of astrology that interest you the most. And I think focus with that. And over the years, I've learnt to work with more so in astrology about where the planets are sitting now and how they affect us. And that's how I do the weekly breakdown. It's not necessarily doing a breakdown for the 12 signs. I'm doing it in a very generalised way, picking out the things that I think will apply to all of us in some form or another. So we are in the Sagittarian time of the year, and I just love it. It's Christmas time. It's magical. It's the time of hope and joy and renewal. And it's a time when I think we can, all probably eat too much and do too many things and go to too many parties and all those sort of things. But we really do need this time to let our hair down and just enjoy the busyness of the season, and then, watching a few silly, Christmas movies that you've seen 1,000 times, but you still love them anyway. You know every word in them, but that's okay. Sometimes familiarity is the best thing. So we do have the sun sitting in Sagittarius at the moment, because it is the Sagittarian time of the year through till about the 22nd of December. So it's a time where we really do need to sort of put our sparkles on and really go out there and shine. It's a time when people sort of maybe speak their mind without even thinking about, it comes into their head and out it comes their mouth. So be aware of that. Sometimes people don't really stop and think about what they're going to say. It's just they open their mouth and out it pops. And particularly at the moment where we've got Mercury, the planet of communication, is actually conjunct or holding hands the sun in Sagittarius. So there's going to be a lot of foot and mouth diseases, we fellow Saggies affectionately call it. You've opened your mouth and you think, oops, I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, I've said it anyway. So it's a time of great truth. It doesn't necessarily mean the truth needs to be bad or something that we don't want to hear. It's just sometimes it's a refreshing change for people to sort of understand it as they see it, calling a situation as they see it. And that's maybe not such a bad thing. It's a time for many people where their faith in their religion and the things that they believe in and get congregating and going to church, or going to church as a family and as a group of people, is really, really important. And it's a time where you shouldn't look down at those sort of people, that's what they need to do for themselves. We all have our own belief systems. Whether we go to church or not, we all still live by a code of ethics that is uniquely ours. And that's what I call religion. It's the code of ethics that we live by. Whether you decide to go into a church and pray and worship and be with other people and other like-minded souls, that's entirely your choice. Or whether you live your life the best you can every single solitary day, that's a good thing too. So we also still have the planet of action, Mars, is still sitting in Scorpio, and maybe they're sort of irritating us, or maybe they're bringing to light some of the things that maybe we haven't dealt with, or maybe we have an issue with. And this is why it's feeling so prickly and uncomfortable, that we're being asked to really sort of look at it. It's also a time where people sort of don't seem to have a lot of patience with things. We're seeing people become quite defensive, and particularly on political stages at the moment. If somebody says something they don't like, they all come out ready, armed with, you can't say that to me and you can't do this, I'm ready to dong you on the head. You know, they're like little children in a playground not getting their own way. So just be aware of that. If you have to listen to what's politically going on in your world and you don't like it, turn it off. You know, it's the time of the year where I think we can give the politicians a wide berth and say, this is my time of the year to sort of have some hope and joy, you know, unless you've got something constructive to say, go away. You know, I think we are allowed that little bit of time. We also have the moon, the emotional planet, is conjunct Saturn in Aquarius at the moment. Now, the moon moves very fast. It only sits in a sign for about 2.5 days. So it's not a major thing in as much as it's going to go on for a long time, but it is going to be for the next 48 hours. We're going to feel our emotions might feel a little bit restrained. It's sort of almost like we might feel that we don't have any emotions. It's like nothing's really hitting me in the pit of my stomach. It's like, oh yeah, I know that's going on, who cares? And it's like, where's this attitude coming from? Well, this attitude's coming from the fact that the moon is sitting in Aquarius, but more importantly, the fact that it's holding hands with Saturn, the planet of discipline, where Saturn's sort of saying to you, unless it's really, really, really super important, let's not get bogged down on the little details. Let's only deal with the things that are incredibly important, the things that we need to deal with, the things that we need to put our emotional energy into. The rest of it can just fall by the wayside. It's really not worth our extra effort and energy. So that might be why you might be feeling a tiny bit of almost like I don't care emotion. And it's not that you don't care. It's like I'm picking the things that I'm going to put my emotional energy into. And maybe this is not one of them. So maybe that's a good thing, because sometimes I think we can allow our emotions to run away with themselves and to become the dominant force in our lives, that sometimes that's the thing that takes over the most, is the fact that everything's led by our emotions or driven by our emotions. And it's not necessarily, is it something that we can sort of control or even harness? Sometimes we want to, but we're not able to do so. And it's like, wow, this is really annoying, because I know common sense tell me I shouldn't be behaving this way or opening my mouth and getting all upset and everything like that and upsetting everybody around me, but I can't stop it. And that's usually sometimes because the moon is in such a powerful energy, or maybe holding hands or conjunct other planets that are really illuminating this or giving it more energy and giving it that push that it's like we can't control it. Now, we've got Neptune, the planet of illusion and delusion, has been sitting in Pisces now for quite some time. It is the ruler of Pisces, so it feels very comfortable there, but it's been going retrograde now for about 5.5 months. Now, what that means is in the retrograde phase that Neptune has been sort of creating more mysticism. It's been creating more mischief in a sense. It's been creating things that haven't been clear. As we've tried to decide or work through issues or sort out things that we needed to sort out that might have been quite major in our life, it's sort of almost as if the water's been murky. We haven't been able to see it clearly. We may have been deceiving ourselves. We might have been deceiving others, and not intentionally, but because we didn't have all the facts or the information, that this is the only way we could deal with it. We could only talk about or share what we understood or what we felt or what we saw. Now, this may not have been crystal clear. Now, Mercury is about to go direct again, so we're going to start to feel a sudden shift in things. And all of a sudden, some of the things that have been pressing or annoying you or you haven't been able to find solution to or answers to, all of a sudden might become crystal clear. And the way that I describe that, it's like looking at a swimming pool that needs chemicals, it's green and dirty looking, and all of a sudden we fix the pool with the chemicals and the water's crystal clear and we can see the bottom. Well, that's going to be like our lives. We're going to be able to finally see crystal clear the things that are going on in our lives, and the things that we need to be able to work through are going to become much more crystal clear. We'll get the answers. We'll be able to look at things in a more direct, positive and logical approach as we move forward. So just be aware the next couple of days we may feel a little bit uncomfortable, where we're sort of looking at something and then the next minute we're changing our mind and then we're back to, well, gee, I don't know, I've got question marks. Just leave it alone. If it's not urgent, don't sort of force making a decision if you don't have to. For many, many creative people, this will be great, because they're going to finally say, wow, the drought's broken. I'm starting to feel creative again. I'm feeling the music happening. I'm feeling, you know, my ability to write or to want to get creative or come up with new ideas or just get into the habit, you know, of starting new projects and being able to see them through. And for many of the rest of us mere mortals, it'll just be, oh, hang on a minute, I haven't got the Christmas decorations up, I better get them out. You know, I feel like I'm running out of time. So however Neptune in Pisces affects you, just enjoy it, go with it, and know that it's almost like a changing of the guard. It's a shifting of the energy, and it's positive. So finally, to wrap up the astrology section this week, we've got Venus conjunct or holding hands, Pluto and Capricorn. Now, look, I'm not going to talk about Pluto and Capricorn. I've been talking about that for a very long time now. But Venus conjunct or holding hands in Pluto is slightly a little bit different because Venus is the planet of love and affection. So for those of you that are single, that are seeking to have a new relationship or would like to attract someone new into your life, this is a really positive time because it's saying Venus now, conjunct or holding hands with Pluto, is not going to allow you to fall into the past traps where you've gone into relationships for the wrong reasons or you've gone back and repeated the same lessons over and over and over again. Pluto now is showing you that you've done a lot of transforming. You've now fully understand what it is that you're looking for in a relationship or what you'll accept or what you won't accept. So if you are seeking love and you do meet somebody special over the next couple of months, they may be very different from the type of people that you're used to associating with or used to be attracted to. So be aware of that. It means that Pluto is doing his magic. He has been transforming your life. He's been helping you make better and more informed choices, and hopefully this time moving you into a very long-lasting relationship that can be the type of relationship that you can both grow in and both enjoy. So we're going to talk to Anne now in Long Island in New York. Are you there, Anne?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Anne. Do you have a question I can answer for you, please?
Yes, I was just wondering if you can give me some information in regards to my love life and where it's heading.
Okay. So no one in particular you want me to look at, Anne? Is no one special there at the moment?
Yes, there is. Do you need his name?
Just give me his first initial so that we won't announce it on air. How's that?
Okay, his first initial M, like Mary.
Okay. All right. Let me tune into him. Has there been a little bit of difficulty there in the last couple of months in this relationship? Because what they're showing me is it's sort of like not an ending, but an ending to some of the issues that were sort of like causing conflict between the two of you. It's like I've got to the bottom of that now. Would that be a fair statement to make and how you sort of see the relationship starting to progress now?
Actually, I would say it goes back and forth. Like it's good, like he's what's the word? Fickle in a way, like
yeah. But I think we're starting to get to the bottom of that now. I think we're starting to get to work through that now with him sort of.
Okay.
That's the way they showed it to me was they showed me a symbol of an ending, but I wasn't taking that as the end of the relationship. I was taking that as the end of this toing and froing and uncertainty and will I, won't I sort of thing, like we've worked through the issues that were there. And sometimes it's just fear that causes people to behave like that. You know, everything's going great. Oh, my goodness. And, you know, we get frozen in fear and think, oh, I can't do this. You know, what happens if this happens and what if that happens? You know, instead of sort of going with it and enjoying it and saying this is wonderful, this is what I want, we get this frozen in fear moment. And that's what I was feeling around him was that he was, you know, he'd get so far, everything would be going good and then he'd sort of stop it dead, as if he didn't know what to do with it next. I think that's starting to sort of melt away, if I can put it that way. I'm sort of seeing in the first 3 months of next year, Anne, where the two of you will be sitting down and talking about where this relationship will move forward. You know, what's the next step?
Okay.
Is the next step the two of you sitting down and talking about maybe getting a place together and a place to call home? That's what I'm sort of feeling that this is going to lean towards. And it's sort of like if somebody had said that to you back in September, you would have shook your head and said, I can't see it. I really can't see it because one minute he's here, next minute he sort of seems to be goodness knows where. So to get to that point in 6 months, you know, if we're talking, you know, March at the outside here, that's a really major step forward compared to where you were. So it's got to be over these next 3 or 4 months, the two of you are starting to build a much stronger foundation and an opportunity for the relationship to grow, which is a good thing. I think it's just been fear with him. It's not anything else. It's not that he doesn't like what he sees or doesn't love you or anything like that. He's just been terrified of what if. You know, well, let's throw what if out the window and let's just go with it and enjoy it. But I think you've got a lot to look forward to, Anne. Is there a new job on the horizon in the new year?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Is there a new job on the horizon for you in the new year?
Between me and him?
No, for you. Are you looking for a new job? Is there a new job?
I'm thinking of I'm trying to do something.
Oh, good. Well, good, because they were showing me something for you with an income.
Yeah, I'm trying to do something like on my own.
Right. Good.
Like
well,
a
they were showing
charity
me it was really
or
positive.
just something like, to help people.
Good. Well, they were showing me it was positive and it was happening in the new year, and it was like this was just one of the many things to look forward to for 2022 is, your relationship improving, getting stronger, and then this new opportunity with a way that, to me, they showed it to me like a job where you were really excited about that, and it was really fulfilling. So I think you've got a lot to look forward to. So enjoy the festive season, Anne, and I hope you have
can I ask you one quick question before we leave? Can you tell me this conversation, is it something that looks like I'm going to have to start, or is something he'll start?
No, he'll start it.
What?
He will start it. You've got the relationships he's getting much stronger in himself, and he's going to be the one that's going to start the conversations and start things moving forward, sweetie.
Oh, perfect. Oh, good. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Have a nice Christmas, sweetie. We're going to talk with Daphne now in Wilson, South Carolina in USA. Are you there, Daphne?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a question I can work with, please, Daphne?
Huh?
Do you have a question I can answer for you?
Yes. I wanted to know do I have a lot of money coming in?
Okay. All right, Daphne, look, that's sort of not technically a question we answer sort of psychically, because there's sort of certain unspoken guidelines on a psychic level. And one of those sort of things is, am I going to get an inheritance, or am I going to get a windfall? Am I going to win a lottery or a game of chance? And usually they're the questions I sidestep. As far as your question about are you going to get a lot of money coming in, if you were expecting me to answer it on those two levels, I'm going to say no, I won't even answer that. But what I can tell you is what I'm being shown is that there is going to be a definite increase in the money that surrounds you. Now, whether or not that's going to be considered a large sum, that what you would consider a large sum of money coming in, I'm not sure of that. But what they're showing me is an increase above what you've got now, where your life will become a lot more comfortable than what it was. It's like you have to really believe in yourself. And I feel this last 2 years, you've sort of really taken a bit of a battering about what you want out of life and what you believe in and where you think your life is going. And I'm not just talking about because you've been through COVID, and as we all have around the world. This has been sort of on a different sort of personal level as you've been readjusting who Daphne is. It's like I shed the old parts of Daphne, and underneath this is the new shoots of Daphne, the new and improved version of Daphne, where I've become so much stronger. I'm really standing up for myself a lot more, and I'm not allowing people to walk all over the top of me anymore. And with that newfound strength and commitment to yourself is coming improvements in life, and with that is attracting more money. So I hope that answers what you wanted to know.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah, because you've done so much work on yourself. And I mean, I don't think even people that are closest to you realise how much you've had to work on yourself and how much you've had to really sort of strip everything back to the bone, haven't you? And then start to sort of put a layer of flesh on like a piece of tissue paper, and then another one and another one and another one to get to where you are now. And I think you should really be very proud of yourself with the work that you've had to do on yourself, and you did it without complaining. You just kept putting one foot in front of the other and kept working through this. And the reward for that will be a lot easier life, because you've really listened to your inner voice. You've also listened to your guides, to everything. You didn't put anything not on the table. You put everything on the table and then picked through it one piece, one item at a time, and gave it the time that was needed to look at whether you kept it, what you did with it, what was the lesson around it, and then where we placed it. So this is good. I mean, 2022, I think, is going to be a much calmer year for you. I want to sort of say, Daphne, that I'm not sure that the year actually really kicks off for you till about March, April, May. It's like up until then, let's just go into cruise mode. You know, like we're into Christmas now. Let's get Christmas and New Year out of the road and then let's just cruise. But it's sort of as we get into that second quarter of the year when things start to ramp up for you, when you start to see the rewards for all the hard work that you've put in. They're showing me a pink heart, but I'm not necessarily looking at that as new love, as in more love around you. Now, whether or not that means love coming from a relationship or whether it's just, I took it both to be more love in general. It's sort of like you're going into a more loving, particular, easier part of your life, which is great, Daphne, which is wonderful. So I hope that's been of help to you, sweetie.
Well, I'm getting to know someone that I like, that I really, really like.
Oh, good. Well, then there will be more love coming from that. They didn't show it to me as a brand new relationship. They showed it to me as an increase in love.
Yes, he makes me smile every time I see him.
Good. Well, that can only get stronger, sweetie, and that's what I'm saying. It's going to grow. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to grow and it's going to blossom. So, Daphne, that's where we're going to have to leave you now, sweetie. We've come to the end of the show. So for the rest of our viewers, I hope you're enjoying your week and the time ahead as you get ready for this very busy festive season. And I know a lot of people say it's such a headache, but it's a magical time of the year. I think it's a time of the year where we should all come alive and put the Christmas carols on in the car and sing and do everything that we possibly can. And, you know, I think it's just a very, very magical time of the year. And this week I want to leave you with a Christmas carol that I think is one of the most beautiful ones out there, called Silent Night. And my favourite version of that is John Farnham and Olivia Newton-John from Australia. So why don't you Google that one and have a listen. Until next week, have a great week. Enjoy the festive season. And don't forget to tell Santa what you want. He's got a very big wish list this year. He's going to try and get through to everybody and deliver all our wishes. So till next week, bye for now.